All right, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to just start digging into the BYU library, and I'm going to show you some things you can do. So we might run into some dead ends. We might
Can you share everything
find
that
something.
you find with
Yeah, so I'm recording this right now.
Okay, great.
So I'm recording the whole thing. I'll send that to you.
Okay.
Because you're the one who sent it, and I think it'd be this is going to be most useful for Scott, who won't be here. But nobody else. Well, Meredith did some things. As soon as Scott leaves, we can do some Meredith stuff too if you'd like. That being said, thank you very much. So what are the so I got this idea. I want to do Wizard of Oz. I want to look at psychoanalysis. Where are some ideas people have of how to start looking at it? What is your gut reaction telling you what to do and where to go? Psychoanalysis. Okay, so where would you go to find that?
Psychoanalysis in theater specifically, or that's what
Let's just start. So let's just start at psychoanalysis. Should I just type psychoanalysis into the search bar here in the library? No, let's not. Let's go here. Oh, you guys think we're going to databases? No. Like, if you just want to know the definition of something, just Google it. Let's do a Wikipedia. Let's just see. Like, this grabs it right for you. It's a set of psychological and psychotherapeutic theories and associated techniques created by Austrian physicist Sigmund Freud and stemming partly from the clinical work of Joseph Breuer and others. Okay, so that's the start of psychoanalysis. I can go to this Wikipedia thing and read up on it. Here's the basic tenets. A person development is determined by often forgotten events in early childhood rather by inherited traits alone. Human attitude, mannerisms, experience, and thought is largely influenced by irrational drives and that are rooted in the unconscious. It is necessary to bypass psychological resistance, blah, 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 blah. So this is just psychoanalysis. So if I just want to know what psychoanalysis is, here's what it is. What if I want to do something on new historicism? I don't even know what this says on new historicism. So that's one of the other things you can do. Because you guys are going to be picking your paper topics before we cover some of these, it might be a good idea to familiarize yourself with some of the options you have. So,
What are some of the options?
like post-structuralism. Any of those ideas that we talked about, like flipping binaries, finding new meanings, how things are decentered. Psychoanalysis and new historicism. We have a question?
Just those three?
No? Okay. Yeah, basically those three. Or any mixture of those three. Or you could even do feminist psychoanalysis or LGBTQ new historicism. Like you can branch out to any topics you're interested in as long as it includes elements of those things.
Are you saying how the piece is an example of that?
How the piece is?
The piece that you...
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like looking at the piece through a lens.
Well, so no, you don't want to say I'm going to deconstruct this.
Well, no,
I'm going to new historicize this.
No,
I'm going to psychoanalysis this.
So if I saw Peter the Starcatcher, can I
Mm-hmm.
say how it was a deconstruction of Peter Pan?
Yeah,
That
you
was
can. You can do that, but that's not interesting or really all that relevant.
So what do we do?
So what you do is you say, Peter and the Starcatcher shows us that child abduction is a positive thing in society.
Okay.
You make a statement, and then you use elements of deconstruction. So when Peter and the Starcatcher flips the binary of Babada and Babada, it shows that maybe being abducted is not so bad after all. And then you make a thesis, you use these elements to defend your thesis. So you never have to say, I'm psychoanalyzing right now, or this is a technique used by new historicism to find truth. You use these ideas to help you support a thesis that you have about your paper.
Yeah, I just didn't know what the direction was. I've had classes like this where they said, I want you to show me why this is this theme.
Okay.
And so I didn't know if that was what this is. So no.
Excellent. So it's not that. You don't want to just, I'm going to deconstruct this, or I'm going to look at this through psychoanalysis. You want to use elements of those things to defend a thesis, to make an
About the
argument
show that
about the
exists.
production,
Cool.
yeah,
That's
about the
cool.
performance. But that's an excellent question. So yeah, you can deconstruct something, but you don't want to just say, this is it deconstructed. You want to say, this show says something about something. Here are the elements that do it. I'm looking at those elements through lenses of New historicism, psychoanalysis, deconstruction, binary flipping, those kind of things. And so here's something on new historicism. So this is what we're going to start getting into next week. Guys, I honestly doubt you'll use this. You might. If you find it interesting, you might. Stay tuned. I don't want to put words in your head. So it's, well, let's look at the points. So there's some key assumptions that every expressive act is embedded in a network of material practices, meaning that all the material that we have about a certain moment in history is all interconnected and important to each other. So if I was going to look at like the original production of Death of a Salesman, I could look at Arthur Miller's tax records from that time and see that as an interconnected materialism.
So, like,
everything is, yeah, also, yeah.
What you think, like, oh, this revolt was happening, but also,
Yeah, so not just like what's in the history books or not just what's what people talking about, but all material from that moment. And it's not just text material, it's artifacts, it's buildings, it's streets, it's sewer systems, it's all those things. What? It's the fashion, it's the clothes, but not just like our ideas of the fashion, but the literal like material that was there I can go and find, and I can make connections. It's a bit harder, is what I'm saying. The other stuff is a little easier to do. Especially like, so, for instance, if you saw, where'd you see Peter and the Starcatcher? I'm assuming you saw it.
The Far Hill.
The Salt Lake one?
Yeah. I'm new to Utah, guys.
No, that's fair. So like maybe you would look up what's in the newspapers going on around that production to find connections. You could do both or either and either. Yeah, I mean, but usually it's the time it's written, and usually the time it's written is the time it's performed in terms of our scope of time. Because I'm looking like at Shakespeare, so anything from the 16th, 15th century is going to work for me.
So if I were to use something like this, I would make a statement doing this because of everything.
Yeah. So kind of.
Examples that was happening.
Yeah.
at that time.
So like.
So you could just talk about how the book was really successful, so they made a play out of it, and they talk about.
Yeah, kind of.
No is good because then it stops that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that.
Okay.
Because you're not interested so much in the text and copies of the text because you're not valuing all the material.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's part of the history. The reason they wrote it in the first place was because it was a successful book.
Yeah, I think so, but that obvious history fights against new historicism. Only because you're trying to unravel what's already been said. And so what's already known isn't as interesting as what's not being said by valuing all the material that hasn't been valued. Again, a lot of these post-structuralist ways of thinking, including feminism, including new historicism, I'm taking something that wasn't valued, women, people of African descent, tax codes, and I'm valuing them. I'm saying this is worth something, this is worth looking at, and then I'm finding the connections. Yes?
So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this stuff. You have like a show or something, you want to say based on this reason that people don't think is connected. Like this is what influenced, I guess, what like the writer was trying to say or something like that.
Or yeah, or just the ideas in the ideas in the show in general. It doesn't even have to have influenced the writer. It can just be there, and it tells us something about that moment. And so maybe, I mean, it could be any kind. It could be all kinds of things. The nice thing for you, perhaps, is that you can be at these live performances and you can find the material that's important to you if you want to do something with new historicism, and you can value that material. You can look at what people are wearing. You can look at the music that's playing on the radio before you get there or after. There's all kinds of things you can look at. I mean, again, this is a practice to look at history, and so we're going back to places where these things weren't valued, but you have the opportunity to value them in the present. So that's something to look at. It's interesting stuff. That being said, so familiarize yourselves with the basic things. Now, how much time do we have? Oh, dear sweet. So after I've found something like, okay, I know what psychoanalysis is. I think someone brought up a good point. Let's take it to British theater. Further. So I could say psychoanalysis theater. Let's see what I get. Guys, a lot of people like poo-poo on this search bar. I don't know how to spell anything. So I always get this page, and then I get this page. People poo-poo on this search bar, but I like to just, give it a whirl. Let's see what it gets. So there's a 2004 article from the International Journey of Psychoanalysis called The Mind as a Theater, Volume 95, Issue 1, starting on page 164. Yeah, the search bar isn't bad. You can find some good stuff. I often just search there first. I'll show you here in a minute something that's not as, or a little bit deeper, perhaps, if you're not finding any stuff. But you can find some good stuff just searching in the search bar. It's fine. You're going to want to find things that are peer-reviewed. So anything that says, International Journal of something is probably going to be peer-reviewed. So look for journal articles. Look for books that have indexes in them and a lot of sources that are cited in the back. Those are the kind of things you want to look for. So let's just look at this article. It's online. Look up full text. Son of a gun. Does it give us anything? I don't know. Full text options. You could get it. Oh, that's not going to help us. I do? Oh, so you're teaching me something. Is it? So it's a good thing.
More likely.
The title is translated.
Oh. The Mind of the Theater. Huh. So let's just see what this aspect says. The book has 2 addenda in which the author discusses some observations gleaned from therapeutic experiences that occurred in public rehabilitation centers and the therapeutic role that theatrical experience can have on patients. So they're looking at these experiences in therapy that that are in their nature theatrical. The analysis is not only engaged in developing and fostering the transferring relationships, but at the same time also an observer of what is on the stage. That is a third in charge of the process, blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of some complex stuff. And it's not even about theater. It's not from a theater journal, but it's an interesting thing on how ideas behind, this isn't strictly Freudian psychoanalysis, but it's using ideas behind psychological therapeutic modern practices, which are perhaps more helpful. So this would be a good article to look at for your article abstract and say,
Well, this one's really good for Scott because he's doing at-risk teens using
Yeah.
theater.
And so he could say,
Theater as therapy.
exactly. So I think this is a great connection. I'm recording all this for him as well, so he will.
Scott, read this article.
Yeah. So this would be an excellent article for Scott to look at. And just say, oh, this is a way that theater and psychoanalysis are connected. Is it talking about his production?
No.
Is it even talking about a theatrical event as we understand them in terms of, I went and saw The Wiz and this is what happened? No. But he can use ideas that are presented here and compare them. So he could say, Francesca Moscato discusses how the therapeutic practice is a theatrical event. Using his ideas, I also here say that the theatrical event can be a therapeutic practice, and then show the parallels between what Moscato was saying and what he experienced with his performance. Great. There's a 5-page paper right there. Ta-da! I writ your paper for you. You're welcome. There's probably enough information here to write a 5-page paper. You'd probably want to find some other articles, or if this is boring or you can't understand it, look at other things. So that's an option that you have. And all I did was search for the 2 really broad things. I want to do psychoanalysis, I want to do theater. So you just find some articles where people are talking about those 2 ideas. You can also search for, Wizard of Oz therapy. See where that hits us. The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why it logs me out as much as it does. The Emerald City, a graphic novel. No. Nope. No. Let's look for articles instead of books. Psychoanalysis, past, present, future. Sherlock Holmes, Sir Lancelot, and the Wizard of Oz. Ding, 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 ding. This might be about the film production of the Wizard of Oz, but it's still talking about how Wizard of Oz and psychoanalysis come together. Dear sweet mother. This paper describes 3 psychoanalytic perspectives, each of which represents central elements of psychoanalysis and literary Sir Lancelot and the Wizard of Oz. So he can use the ideas presented in Wizard of Oz here, and he could talk about how it specifically is helping the kids at heritage schools. There, your paper is written. You lucky duck.
There's the paper.
What are other things you could... So, Meredith, what do you want to look at?
I was looking at structuralism as a foreigner, but then structuralism is not like.
Yeah, so the ideas behind structuralism you'll definitely use, but you want to use either some psychoanalysis stuff, some new historical stuff, or some post-structural stuff to make your
The
point.
biggie thing is like the arbitrary language of the foreigner.
Okay. Arbitrary language in theater, maybe. Let's broad it out. Let's see what we get. I don't know if we get anything. Arbitrary language in theater. Arbitrary spelled wrong. Theater of Revulsion, 2013. Let's see what, I mean, I don't know if this is helpful at all. Only one way to find out. That's revolting. Okay. Baudrillard. He's pretty popular. Okay. So, some interesting stuff. Maybe helpful, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Shakespeare and gender practice. That'd be interesting. Anything sticking out? Where's that? This one? Oh, European languages and stages. Okay. What is this? So it's a 150-page online resource. So this is like early stuff. So it's a little outside of your thing, but you can see how language and stage are combining in interesting ways. Yeah, there might be some stuff. Again, you kind of have to like browse through, look, and maybe you'll find an article. It's like, oh wow, this is something interesting I've never thought of before, and this is how I want to reshape because it's talking about stuff that I really like. In the final, we don't even have a minute left. You guys are free to leave, but so go to databases, type in EBSCO, go to Academic Search Premier EBSCO. If you're not finding anything, or this is where you really want to start your searching. Go to full scat, full text, scholarly, and then just start typing all combinations of words right there. EBSCO, databases, EBSCO, full text scholarly. Everyone with me. Databases, EBSCO, full text scholarly. Databases, EBSCO, full text scholarly. Database.
I remember that. Database absolutely.
So psychoanalysis.
New historicism. So if you guys are like, oh, I need to learn these things, feel free to read the Barry chapter. You're going to have to read the Barry chapter for New Historicism next week anyway. So over the weekend, find an article. Make an outline of the article, bring it on Monday. Or send it to me. Yeah, just like, this is what I think it's saying. This is the different sections that it has in it. This is an outline. You guys want to do an outline,
It's
right?
like a review of the article, and then you want us to put our own commentary in there.
You can. Talk about how it's helpful. Give me your ideas. See if it's useful for your paper. The more you put in there, the better it'll be. This is just for a grade, though, so it's just completion. You'll get a grade no matter what, but take advantage of this to see if, like, Rick, is this a good article if I want to talk about this? What are some things in there? And then I can help you. Guys, I can help you so much. You just take advantage of it. Look at what I did for Scott today. I wrote your own dang paper.
We have a quick announcement.
Quick announcement!
So for the presentations on Monday,
Oh, man.
we're doing all the Death of a Salesman presentations are happening in